Hey guys, what's up? What's up? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time. We're here. One Piece, chapter 1121. Incredible. Hope everybody's doing well today. Was spoiled on one particular thing for the chapter because I got a push notification from another fellow YouTuber in the community that shouted out a particular character in the title of their video. But see, see what's going on here.
You loyal.
See what's about to happen. Shout out to Big Stinky joining the channel.
Another one.
Shout out to DJ BS, member for 37 months. Howdy Captain, changed my YouTube name, used to be DJ BJ32. I figured it was you. Yeah, guys. Let's do this. All right, so I got the chapter pulled up here. Ooh, wow. Check out this color spread here. Wait, let me get the page counter up for everybody. Yeah, we're on page 1. Yeah. So, this has been like a trend for Oda recently. There's been a couple of spreads where I feel like Oda has had like a giant Nami. Is that going to be foreshadowing? Nami going to go find a Nika form and then go giant, and then we'll be like, oh, it was foreshadowed in all of these color spreads. What's crazy is that for the past couple of days, I've been seeing this Nami image, like just the cropped face, I guess on like Twitter or, different social media platforms, but I didn't connect that it was the color spread for this chapter. In my mind, I thought it was like something Oda had put in like one of the color walks. But I really like this. I like Zoro cutting the watermelon, being a fruit ninja up there. And Frankie's riding a duck. Yeah. I'm just taking everything in here, guys. We'll get into the chapter in a moment, but I do want to appreciate the color spread. There's something about the way that Oda drew Nami here that reminds me of some of the like old color walk drawings that Oda would do that were non-One Piece related. It almost feels like a different style. So I don't know. I appreciate that, and I really like this. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. And shout out to Dawn Knight in the chat, because I'm wearing this shirt entirely because he made me aware that it existed in the Discord. So he put that Hot Topic was selling cross guild shirts in the Discord, and I went that day. All right, so here we are. We're on page 3 now. We've got the title of the chapter, "The Upheaval of the Era." This technically, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last chapter of Egghead, personally. Like, I don't see more than this and another chapter to wrap everything up here. Everything is too crazy. It's too nutty. This is definitely wrapping up in 2 chapters. That's all I know. That's all I know. Hold on. I need a water. Okay, I'm good. I'm set. We're doing this. Watch out for the claws. All right, they're poison. Don't touch them. So we got Saturn on the ship. We've got Dorian Brogy doing their Sun Shield Svalin-esque attack. Some other random guy is joining in on the fun. Oh, actually, a lot of them are. They're all blocking the attacks. Oda has recreated the same, like, look into Saturn's Gyuki eye here that we've seen this panel before. All right. Ooh. Bonnie has gone back into her Nika form. And Luffy's winding up. All right, next page. Okay, Luffy attacks. Bonnie flies into the air here. Saturn has noticed the Nika version of Bonnie. He is not pleased. He's not pleased. Okay, so Luffy's gonna let Bonnie get the hit in. One day, the memories of the Void Century will be recalled. And mark my words, that day is coming. This is Oda telling us, like, hey guys, I'm gonna give you that Void Century flashback. Don't worry. I got you. That day is coming. It's just not today. What island are we at here? Do we have anybody significant in this panel? I'm not really recognizing it. Wait, is this... I don't know. I mean, this is giving Flame Emperor vibes, like that end panel where they, where the TV is where they had the giant photo of Sabo. That's what this is giving. I don't know if that's right. I can't really tell what island this is. But it also kind of looks like Logetown. But what's throwing me off about it being Logetown is that there's so many people that look like pirates instead of just regular people. And you have this other dude that looks like he has horns, like someone from Kaido's crew. Chat saying it is Logetown? Okay. Okay. So we got Shirahoshi side by side with Vivi. Agenda firing. Vivi side by side with Shirahoshi. Okay. Or these are two sovereigns. These two characters that screamed the same way and made miracles happen. Anyway, the sinking of the world's continents was a man-made disaster brought about by weapons. The sinking of the world's continents was a man-made disaster brought about by weapons. Okay. Okay, first canonical appearance of Conus. And I'm going to assume that that's Isa. Oh, and there's Wiper. And probably Kamakiri to his left, our right. And Genbo to his right, our left. I don't know who the person on the far left is, unless that's supposed to be Pagaya. It's probably Pagaya. Shout out to my guy Wiper. Skype is looking a little more technologically advanced and very. I don't remember I don't remember. What was it? Angel Island? What was this? What was the city that Conus lived in? I don't remember it having such like Japanese architecture. Angel Beach. Yeah, that's what it was. Weapons which by someone's design still exist today. Okay. This is he's kind of reiterating a lot of the stuff that he's already said here. Didn't he already tell us that these things still exist? I was wondering if we were going to see Skypea, and I'm glad we did. But it's very clear that like they're not watching the broadcast. We're just getting an update omnisciently. Next page. Sorry, I took a lot of time with that Skypea panel, but I mean, hey, first appearance of Wiper, one of my goats. Gotta take it in, gotta absorb it. Volkazard said hinting at Uranus then. We're talking about weapons and we're seeing something in the sky, maybe? Oh, before I move to the next page, we're talking about the ancient weapons, right? And then we see Shirahoshi, and then we see Vivi, and I've been saying that Vivi is one of the conduits of the ancient weapons. And I mean, this just... it's foreshadowing. And what a great panel of Vivi. That's a good one. Alright, so I'm on page 6 now. The machinations of history and fate seem to insist upon the obliteration of those last descendants of rare races. Are you a buccaneer? What makes my blood different from other people's? Seeing Marco. So Marco's still at Sphinx Island. He's just chilling like Katakuri, making no action. Bakin was like, "You need to help my son." And Marco was like, "No, I don't think I will." Alright. Atop the red line, there used to be a land of gods up there. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit of a Whitebeard flashback. Are we going to get confirmation that Whitebeard was a Buccaneer as well? So we're... Jeez. How many layers of Inception are we doing right now? So we've got the Vegapunk message, but while Marco is listening to the Vegapunk message, we're also going into a Marco flashback of Whitebeard talking about something that he learned about from many years ago. All right, here we go. Saeed said, Marco, I missed the part where that's my problem. That's great. That's great. Bringing Toby into it. All right. Bully Marco. Top the red line. There used to be a land of gods up there. Lunarian, eh? I hear the government pays 100 million for tips on your kind. Okay. Look, she's got 3 eyes. So we've got putting... All right, wait. I'm trying to understand the connections here. So is this king in, like, impel down? Because he's all covered up. So this is like... So the Marco thing is over. It was just him remembering that we cut to King and then cut to Pudding. Because these are the descendants of the rare races. Okay. The machinations of history and fate seem to insist upon the obliteration of those last descendants of rare races. Okay, so the Buccaneers, the Lunarians, and the Three-Eyed Tribe are going to be very important to the Void Century. All right. Okay. But this is also subtly implying, in my opinion, that Whitebeard could be among one of these races. Further confirmation that atop the red line are where gods used to live. Next page. It's Nika. If there's one score I have to settle, it's with you. With that mimicry, a pale imitation. Get him. Hee 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 hee. Okay. Bonnie seems to be doing a, like, jet stamp type of move. Love it. Next page. Ooh, double page spread. Okay. Your only options are slavery and death. History itself chose them for you. Pay for what you did to my daddy? I'll show up and save you. Oh, the anime is gonna... Anime's gonna crush this. Not Bonnie, that was Luffy. Well, I figured. I mean, it was a Luffy-style attack. Yeah. Yeah, it's Luffy. Okay. Wish we could have lived together as family. There were times I wanted to die if I had to be alone. But I won't. I'm going to live. Look at that. Because they wanted me to be alive. Oh, that's good. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you for being born. This panel of Kuma and Ginny and Bonnie. I wish she could have had that. As a dad, that hits. I like that. I feel that. You know, I gotta respect Oda for that panel too, because it's like he's capturing like in just that single panel, he's capturing like everything that's beautiful about having a child. The other part of the spread here. And what you did to my mommy. Performed a chemical experiment on your mother. People aren't gods, but gods do exist. Hi, Bonnie, it's me. I'm your mommy. Liberation. So look at this giant Luffy ready to back her up. I'm not zoomed in anymore. I'm letting this panel cook here. He's really outstretched. This is wild. What a shot. Yeah. Next page. Hey, Big Berg. My guy. He's still got the Gucci pajamas on. He didn't change. Tileston. Peeply Lulu. It's another iconic character from the Water 7 saga, covered by the panel here. If the worst should come to pass, I want you all to take care of yourselves. You got Caesar and Judge yelling at each other. No matter what should happen. It's recreating the panel of Judge and Sanji there. The Judge and Caesar thing. No matter what should happen, I believe in the intelligence of mankind. You see Haridas, who is also probably not actually listening to this. I believe in science. Baltimore. No, that's not Baltimore. That's actually Egghead being destroyed. Okay, it's starting to cut out because the robot's getting attacked. Roger died years ago, 25 years ago. Whitebeard died 2 years ago. Shouldn't it be 24 years ago? That's not time accurate. Didn't Roger die 22 years before the time skip? We've had a 2-year time skip, so it should be he died 24 years ago. Yeah. Time passed. Well, here's the thing, though. You can't say that it's 25 years ago and say Whitebeard died 2 years ago. Then it's Roger died 25 years ago, Whitebeard died 3 years ago. But it also hasn't been a year. It's only been like 4 months since the time skip started. What does the Japanese say? Did Oda write 25 years? Because I'd be really surprised if Oda actually, like, put that there. We'll talk about that later. I'm going to keep reading. But the fall of these legends was merely the prologue of a new era. Next page. Liberation Nika Punch. Backed up by Luffy. Doing his best Jerry from CP5 impression. That's what it was, CP5, right? Or his best Sudume Kraken impression. Next page. Look at this man falling apart here. They're punching holes in him. Look at this violence. If this dude couldn't regenerate, we'd be sitting here saying, Rick killed a guy. Are we good? Because it shows like that the stream was buffering or something. I want to make sure I didn't lose you guys. Okay. And now, these people who refuse to buckle under any and all suppression. They're all cheering. He's laughing. Ah, he blew into pieces. Yeah, you did that. That's crazy. All right. So he's falling into the water. Good job, Bonnie. We got Kuma really looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger at the end of Terminator 2, smiling. Moving over. Look, isn't that your ship? It's the Sunny. Falling, dying, help. Falling, dying, help. These people who refuse to buckle under any and all suppression, they are the ones who are the closest to the truth, ironically enough. Then again, perhaps it was Roger who sent them there. Next page. Alright, my treasure, why it's right where I left it. It's yours if you can find it. I've left everything. World there. Alright, so we got the callback to chapter 1 here. Really reiterating everything. You're gonna catch a cold, Ray. So this is just is this just gonna be the One Piece does exist 2.0 here? Just galvanizing everybody to go after the treasure. Alright. The person who winds up with it may not be the one Joy Boy desired. Okay. That's Oda trying to misdirect everything and say, you know, Who's gonna get there first? Is the Commodore's crew back yet, or what? I can't just wait around like this. I want to know who's saying that. Hideout of the Emperor Blackbeard, Pirate Island full of lead. Ship of Emperor Red Hair, the Red Force. Captain, you might have had too much. No, I'm not. You're drunk. Okay. Next page. There we go. I'm waiting for this. We weren't wrong after all, Chairman Buggy. You always find a way to outdo our wildest imagination. We had no idea the story was this vast. So they're still on empty bluffs. That's crazy. There's no ceiling to your ambitions. But the other crazy thing, the more crazy thing, is that it's still standing. What happened to the Seraphim going after them? Is that it? I thought there was going to be more with Crocodile, because like JD Legend had like, the push notification was that Crocodile was like in the title, so that was video. So I thought there was more with Croc. But anyway, we still have the Cross Guild in the chapter, so shirt warranted. Moving on to McDonald's. Cannot happen. We must find it first. Ooh, are the Marines going to go after the One Piece as well? Then who's going to save the people? Think, idiots. Is this going to be the thing where Oda said if Akainu searched for the One Piece, he'd find it in a year? This is going to be the year where Akainu tries to find the One Piece? There is no stopping the tide. The fate of the world now rests in the hands of the one who finds it. Next page. We have a load of this spread. The person who lays claim to the One Piece. This spread is great. And you know what it's giving? It's giving,
You loyal.
It's giving this panel. I mean this color spread. Like it's telling us who the players are for the rest of the final saga. Just as Conrad said here, member for 37 months. Final saga is well and truly here. get ready. So we've got Shanks, Luffy, Blackbeard, Buggy, Kainu, Dragon. A silhouetted individual holding a rapier. Is this our man marked by flames? Calico Yorkie? Who do people think that is? We've got Emu. Kobe, of course. He was in Chapter 2. He'll be with us in the end. We've got Kuzan. Figureland Garling. That's Sabo. Scopper. Yeah. I mean, it just means that there's another character out there that is, you know, huge and important that Oda's hiding, and it's likely the man marked by flames. Vern said to check the Discord for his take. It's a comparison image of comparing him to Hakuma the bear. I mean, you know, not to go down the Yorkie rabbit hole, or maybe to go down the Yorkie rabbit hole. Pretty sure Yorkie had a rapier too. So while I'm at it, I'm gonna go check that out. Start at 488. I think that's it. Yep. We are 488. Too far. 487. Isn't there a part where it shows Yorkie's sword? Alright, he's holding a sword there, but we can't see the hilt. Nah, still can't see it. Blazers said, or Blaze Riz said the main theory is seriously that it's Shanks's twin. I mean, that could be interesting. You know, if he's also one of the holy knights that we have to go up against. You know, everybody has the whole thing like, oh, Blackbeard's gonna kill Shanks or whatever, but it's like, you know, what if he gets done in by his own family? Something like that could very well, you know, be the case. Not that I really think that Shanks needs to die for the story. I mean, it could happen. But for me, it doesn't matter either way. Brandon King said, some people are saying that's 100% Roger's sword ace. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it would be interesting to bring that into the fold, you know, and it would... The thing I like about bringing Roger's sword back into it is that it makes everything that Tashigi is after, like actually mean something, because, you know, she's got a sword book, it's got all the swords listed, and then, you know, that means that these swords have to have some sort of lineage where they're passed down to people.
Savage.
But, oh, wow. Well, I just saw the breaking news about Biden. Biden officially drops out of the 2024 presidential
You loyal.
race. Will address nation later. That's huge news. Back to One Piece. What was I talking about? The swords, yeah. So I'm okay with that. Keeps Roger like alive in the story, and makes Tashigi's dream like viable. Shout out to Lydia Raven, appreciate the super chat. Said, I feel like this Vegapunk message has been disappointing. I agree. It's been so important to the One Piece world at large, but gave us readers almost nothing new. Yep, I talked about this in my previous video. The part I wanted to hear about the most got cut off. Yeah. And Oda, this is the problem with the way that Oda is structuring the mystery. We're at the point in the story where anything that he says could give away things, but it's also the things that I feel he is saying, even though he's not telling us what the treasure is, or what the will of D is, or anything that's going to, you know, give us major clues. The stuff that he is telling us, I feel, is all of the stuff that would be more visually impactful if we saw it in action, in a flashback, in something, not being told to us. But again, as mentioned in the super chat itself, this is not for us. This is for Iceberg. It's for, Peeply Lulu. It is for Marco and Pudding and, you know, everybody else that's, you know, been shown across these chapters.
You loyal.
It's about catching up everybody in the world to where we are. Because Vegapunk is, what he's trying to do is kick off the rat race. I think now that we have this chapter and Vegapunk has looped everything back into the Roger of it all, and that the point of this whole message in the first place is to tell us that the One Piece exists. What this is Oda spent 10 chapters redoing chapter 1, but in a way where it's not everybody hearing about what Roger said and people getting galvanized by word of mouth. It's everybody literally around the world hearing someone say, hey, that thing that you heard in passing, like, it's possible. So now what Oda is doing is making it more difficult for Luffy to get the One Piece, because there are going to be even more people trying to do it. So in this case, we probably do have a Laugh Tale arc where there's a lot of people there, which we've talked about, but we've only talked about it from the sense of the emperors being there. A battle royale between Shanks, Blackbeard, Buggy's there, of course. In any scenario, Buggy's there, in my mind. But this could bring random people there as well. People that we wouldn't think to be there. At this point, now I'm thinking Akainu is there. The final war doesn't have to happen at Marijois anymore. It can happen at Laugh Tale, because the Marines are going to go there, the ones that matter. Catching up on the chat. Barry said smokers there in my heart.
Loyal.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that last panel that, I would have loved to have seen in that spread, and they're not there. Adamisk, member for 3 months, said Luffy versus Blackbeard, Buggy versus Shanks, Sabo versus Akainu.
You loyal.
Aokiji versus Dragon, Kobe versus Eam. Okay. Figureland versus Stranger. It's parallel peacetime. Oh, okay, I see what you're doing. So, I don't think it's going to be a literal what you're saying. But Oda is definitely connecting these characters. So we'll take the time to talk about that, because you're definitely cooking with that. Let's see. Miguel Diaz, member for 38 months. Is Isa the third sovereign alongside Vivi and Shirahoshi? I mean, we see Shirahoshi, then Vivi, and then Isa. I mean, that would be wild if Isa, came back into the fold. I mean, she was incredibly gifted, I guess. I can't think of the word I meant to use, but obviously, has a strong observation hockey, stronger than most. She could hear the whole island without a devil fruit that early. So that is interesting. Alejandro Salas, member for 14 months, said peak chapter, 27th anniversary, love both, cover art. Oh yeah, this is the anniversary chapter. Great anniversary chapter. Loops everything back to the beginning. Gotta love it. Big Stinky, appreciate you, thanks for the super. Said Weevil and Whitebeard Spear versus Ace Owner Potential. That'd be a fun panel. That's a good take. Alejandro Salas supered and said, how would you feel if Crocodile loses to Blackbeard inches away from getting Pluton? Who's getting knocked off from the last page first? So I would be disappointed about that. But you know, it would tie things together. You know, it's like I still feel that there should have been more of a tie between Crocodile and Blackbeard to begin with. Because it's like one of the biggest plot holes in Blackbeard's plan to me was like he wanted to be a warlord, right? But there's literally 7 warlords. How are you going to do it? So it's like retroactively, Blackbeard should have been like trying to, you know, knock Crocodile out, you know, during the Alabasta saga and everything, you know, like he was introduced in the Alabasta saga, and that would have been like an interesting thing for Oda to lean in with. But I like the idea of tying them together. I just, you know, that's my boy. Sashiburi da na, Kurohige. Let's see. My guy Luke, I see in the chat, buddy, said 27 years, maybe why Oda said 25 since Roger and 2 since Whitebeard, Freudian slip. Maybe. All right, so let's talk about this panel here, this, you know, this spread at the end, because even Chin, remember 35 months, you know, said that the last panel could be a versus panel, character's opportunity. Oh, and Yamil, I missed this one earlier, said I hope the silhouette is someone like Loki the Great Prince. That's an interesting take, that it could be someone from Elbaf. But based on what Adamisk brought up, I'm actually inclined to think that it is someone tied to the Holy Knights now. If this is a thing. So if we're looking at this end panel here, I don't think that this is a versus panel, but it could be an idealistically, it just shows that the characters that are opposite are linked. Either their ideals are the opposite of one another, they're related to another character, they have history with that character, or maybe it does mean that they're going to fight. In the case of Blackbeard and Luffy being side by side, yes, they're going to fight. Sabo and Akainu being on, you know, the same side of each page, mirroring, show, because that's what this is. This is a mirror. So the mirror of Blackbeard is Luffy. The mirror of Shanks is Buggy. Now that doesn't mean that Buggy and Shanks are going to fight. That would be stupid. But it's showing that those two characters are linked. They have a past. There's more of that relationship to explore in the final saga. In the we have Sabo and Akainu. Obviously, we need the moment where Sabo proves Akainu wrong and shows that his flames can burn hotter than magma. So Sabo, as the inheritor of Ace's will, is not only idealistically opposed to Akainu, but will be an opponent for him. Kobe and Emu. Emu shows is the character that represents everything that's wrong in this world, and Kobe is the most good character in the series. Introduced in chapter 2, Kobe has been like our view of someone who wants to be a hero, the protege of the hero. So at the end of the story, we need Kobe the hero, who that's his name now anyway, right? But he's going to be one of the like lead pioneers once the government is toppled to reshape it. 20, 30 years from now, he'll probably be leading the faction of the Marines. He'll be the fleet admiral. He is the, the future fleet admiral candidate in the story. Kuzan and Dragon, now that's really interesting, especially since we've discussed the possibility of Kuzan maybe not being Sword, but having a connection to the Revolutionary Army. But the other thing that is really interesting here, right, that I'm sure most people probably aren't talking about, which I've brought up when all of the Sword chapters were happening, like the Garp versus Kuzan stuff, is these two characters here. It's very interesting that they're being mirrored because they're both sons of Garp. You have the literal son of Garp with Dragon, and then you have like the character that is really Garp's son, the one that followed the path that Garp set out for him, eventually strayed, obviously, now. But Kuzan is the one that was always with him. The one who stayed in the Marines, his protege, his right hand. Like, the way that Shanks and Luffy are connected is the same way that Garp and Kuzan are connected in my mind. It's a little bit deeper because they've spent more time together, but it's that same idea. Figureland being sharing panel time with mirroring this silhouetted character really does imply that character, like everybody talking about Shanks' twin, like that's the argument for it, because they mirror each other. So it's like it's a situation where they could be related. It's not that they're going to oppose each other, but it's something where it's like it could be a Shanks and Buggy type of panel rather than a Sabo and Kainu version. So, but it also is still interesting if it's the man marked by flames. I like the idea of it being someone with Elbaf, but then it means that Figureland has to have some sort of ties to Elbaf or something along those lines, or has to be directly connected. But here's the thing. Okay, argument for it being Yorkie, right? Figureland was on O'Hara. Not O'Hara, sorry. Was at God Valley. Figureland was at God Valley. My theory is that Calico Yorkie was on God Valley. He was in the West Blue. He was a member of Rocks, and he was in the West Blue looking for Brooke and the rest of the crew because he didn't know they were in the Florian Triangle. And he is the person that Gloriosa was in love with. So if he's the man marked by flames, then it means that Figureland could be the reason he is marked by flames. The flames are from Figureland. He is the person who made those flames. He's the person who is the reason for that name. That's the new theory. That's it right there. That's it.
It's about to get spicy.
That's what I'm going with. That's the hill I'm gonna be on. Alejandro Salas supered and said Kobe and Luffy versus Emu. Parallel Garp and Raju versus Rocks. I mean, hey, if we go there, I'm down for it. Brandon King supered and said Kobe is honesty, Emu is lies. Kobe makes the Navy honest. Yeah, he's gonna make the Navy honest. That's the whole point. That's what his character's goal is, because Luffy isn't a hero. He does heroic things by accident, but he's not a hero. Kobe is. Kobe does things because he wants to do good. He wants to be good. Actively. Like that's his whole thing. He wants to go after that. That's his path. Luffy's not going to go save someone just because they need to be saved. He's going to save them because he had some sort of interaction with them. They gave him food. They're related to someone that he already has a relationship with in some way. Otherwise, he doesn't care. He's just like, whatever. Or maybe he would save them, but it's not like he's not going out of his way and he doesn't think anything of it, and he never expects something in return. Except food. Actually, no, that's wrong. No. One of the reasons why he's not a hero is because he does expect food in return in a lot of ways. So, I don't know. Anyway. Let's see here. Mr. 97 Mjosgard is probably alive. I would hate that. I would hate that. Just let him... We don't need him. Tyrannosaurus said Yorkie looks great for being like 98 years old. Yeah, that's my only issue with it. Is that, yeah, I mean, he would be in his 70s or 80s. I buy that he's younger than Brook. Brook was 38 in the Laboon flashback. So, even if we said Yorkie was in his 20s, like Luffy or something, which Luffy isn't even in his 20s, he's 19, but if he was younger, and Brook would just happen to be one of the older members on the crew, then... Because we don't know how old Yorkie is. Oda has never revealed that. So that's another reason why, like, I'm okay with Yorkie being it. But either way, he's still 50 years older than he would have been in that flashback. So he's still... The youngest he could be is like 68. So he's still up there. He can be anywhere from 68 to 88 years old. Emil said maybe the silhouette is Rox Dieselbeck. I don't know how much I'd like that. I think Rox should be an old dog, an old guard, and not still alive. But I mean, I guess there's a way to make it work. If Rox truly is misunderstood like I'd like him to be, and he actually, the only way I would buy it if it's Rox is if Rox truly was a good guy and he has chosen to be the man marked by flames as like a curse so that he can, because he knows the true history, he knows everything, and he's the guardian of the prophecy. So he's waiting for the person to show up. Whoever the man marked by flames is, they have to understand how important the poneglyph is. So in that scenario, the cool thing about it would be that Blackbeard is trying to be king of the world like Rox. But the cool thing about that would be if being king of the world as Rox's ambition was propaganda. So then everything that Blackbeard is chasing in his life, being king of the world, is a lie. Because he's trying to be like Rox, who may have never wanted to be that in the first place. That would be the cool way to go about it. And if that's not the case, and Rox truly was an evil dude during God Valley and during his era, then he should be dead. The only way to keep him around is if he's noble. But the other thing about this panel is that there's so many different ways to look at it as well. because we did all of the direct mirrors, but there's actually so many ways to talk about these characters as well, because it may not be the direct mirrors. Because if you're just looking on the same page, right, and we take it page by page, then you have Luffy and Shanks. Now, the interesting thing here, right, would be we're all looking at it from the mirror, but what if it's actually just literal page by page? So it's Luffy versus Shanks, Blackbeard versus Buggy. Which would be really interesting, because it's not something that anybody is expecting. We talked about Blackbeard versus Crocodile and all of that, but I mean, like, idealistically, like, that could be fun. And we do need the interaction between Luffy and Shanks in the first place. Then, the mirror here is Emu and Akainu on the same page, showing that they could be idealistically opposed, which I don't like, but maybe that's what Oda's trying to say. And then you have Dragon on top of the silhouette. And then on the other page, you have Kobe and Sabo, right? So is there some sort of an interaction that those two are supposed to have? You have Kobe next to Kuzan. They need to address some things. You have Emu and Dragon next to each other. They need to address things. Figureland and Sabo is kind of interesting. Shout out to my guy Ty. Big Guild Ty Zoro. The lavish bracket man. Put those W's in the chat, guys. Oh, and by the way, like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. Let's get these likes up, guys. Come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Ty said, sorry I'm late, Captain. That last panel looks like the end of a volume if I've ever seen one. Is that the volume ender? Because that's a good volume ender, actually. You're right. I agree with you. Do you think there's more to Vegapunk's message? I think we're okay to end it there. I think that the whole point of this message is to galvanize the world to go for the One Piece. So it's a rat race. When Roger did it, it was hearsay. When Vegapunk did it, everybody actually hears it, sees it, listens to it, and they're able to go after it.
Do you see this jacket? Pay my taxes. Trust me, you can track it.
The difference here is that Roger said, go and get my treasure. Vegapunk is saying, go find out the truth of the world. Which is good. Because that's what Robin's going to do. It means that Robin gets to do the thing. I said, I'm guessing we'll come back from break somewhere else, like Pirate Island. Wait, is it a break? Is there no... We just had a break. Got 2 chapters and a break? Viz doesn't say when the next chapter is. Are we on break piece? Guessing we'll come back from break somewhere else like Pirate Island. Egghead runs the rest of 2024, right? Texas Trio Summit next week. Wait, are you guys meeting up in Texas? Is that happening? Miles said lavishly lavishing. Cooper Y said, hey Randy, today's my birthday. Can I get some love from the chat? You absolutely can. There we go. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Cooper Y. Everybody drop that in the chat. Ty said, what's up, Savage Crew? Yes, break. Oh no. Hasib said break, 11:22, break again after that. Good lord. Okay.
Savage.
Demon Gunner says it's been 3 chapters back to back, so yeah, no, it's only been 2. Tomato said, oh, this is Ty's original count, right? Yeah, I guess he's back. Totally not Ty. is retired today. Ty said, yep, concert. Nice. Nice. The Texas Reverie's happening. It's not the One Piece orchestra, right? Didn't that already happen? What are you guys seeing? Oh. Barry said, yes, a tease concert. My Pirate Kings. Love that you guys are meeting up. Love that. Two-week break. Wait. Oh, clarify this for me, guys. Clarify me. Because it seems that break, chapter break. Jin's saying 2-week break. What is happening? Vazu Cap said it's 11:21. We get an Oda break. Then we get 11:22. And then Shonen Jump takes a break. It's break, chapter, break. Official 2 weeks, non-official. Oh, okay. Okay. I said it's Barry's thing. We're hosting at the stadium. They're gonna be at the stadium. Either way, I love that you guys are meeting up. Leonardo Martin said, do you think Figurlin Garling is stronger than the Gorosei? plot would demand that he is, because we'd be fighting him afterwards, technically. Or, well, we didn't beat the Gorosei. So I think Figurlin Garling has the potential to have more damage capacity and, like, attack power than the Gorosei. But the abilities that the Gorosei have and the regeneration and all of that stuff make them more dangerous in a way. So it's like, it's sort of a different thing. The story should allow Garling to be at least Mihawk level. Like, he should be, like, up there with the world's strongest swordsman, since we're in the final saga and he's being portrayed as, like, an endgame sort of character. But we have no information. You know, we just there's just, like, you know, just like plot context stuff that's like, well, this guy has a sword, he's in the end game of the story, he's got to be strong. Whether or not he has a devil fruit, you know, who knows? Does he need one? No. ZMP323 supered and said, "Man marked by flames makes sense in my opinion. Final panel is about the race for the One Piece, and that character is the one effectively gatekeeping the treasure right now." Yep. And whether I'm wrong or not, I got the Yorkie stocks. Barry said, "We've suffered through worse, Randy." We have. 2023 was a rough year. 2 4-week breaks. Oh, man. Brandon King said, "This also completes the trifecta of Roger's speech. Chapter 145, Inherited Will. Chapter 225, People's Dreams. Chapter 1121, The Ebb and Flow of the Ages." But that's what the scan titled the chapter. What is this? The Upheaval of the Era. So, I mean, is it the same in Japanese to what Dragon is quoting Roger on in chapter 100? Because that's really the only way to know if that's what is actually being said here. Ty said, looking at it Sweet 16 style, Shanks beats Garling, Blackbeard beats Shanks, then Emu to face Luffy at the end. Tyrannosaurus said is obviously Don Krieg. No, I mean, I would put Gin before Don Krieg, because Oda made it a point to show us that Gin does not use tonfas anymore and uses a sword. And matter of fact, if you go back to 1117, Gin also now uses a rapier. So it's Gin. It's Gin. It's Gin, guys. That's it. Like, seriously. Go back to 1117. Look at that first panel. Look at Gin's sword. It's the sword that's in the panel. Look at it. I'm looking at it right now. Same exact sword. Same exact sword, guys. It's the sword. It's Gin. Put those Gin emojis in the chat. Here we go. See? Look at that. Flood the chats, guy. Flood it. The lurking legend returned. Oda put him in like just the tiniest little panel, but made sure to show us that he has that sword that is there. It's Gin. Oda knows we've been waiting for him. Oda knows that he made Gin say, I will see you again. He's going for the One Piece. He's in the New World. He's at Hachinosu. Gin is secretly trying to usurp everything from Blackbeard. He's playing the long game now. He's playing it right. He's the captain now.
Woo! Surprise, motherfucker.
Someone cooked here.
So, yeah, that'd be hilarious. Let's take a look back through this chapter here. Let's do the Vegapunk only read. Yeah. I also still love that we've got the two sovereigns side by side, Shirahoshi and Vivi. The sinking of the world's continents was a man-made disaster brought about by weapons. You cannot tell me that that's not on purpose. That he's talking about the ancient weapons and the two panels are on Shirahoshi and Vivi. That's going to be like the create, like, it's literally one of my most tinfoil theories that I've had for so many years. And it would be probably the biggest Channel W if Vivi ends up being like Shirahoshi level and is actually an ancient weapon. Like, it's so tinfoil. But it's like the moment that Crocodile first mentions an ancient weapon, the next panel is Vivi with a giant, really like bold question mark over her head. And then the panel of the rain stopping and the way Oda draws Vivi. And then you compare it to when Shirahoshi uses her ability for the first time, and they're drawn exactly the same way. This is not in the anime, it's only the way that Oda drew it. But it's like even the build-up and the like the paneling and the shading and the way that he like structured everything is very similar. It's like Vivi yells, the rain stops. And like he shows it in the same way. And then Shirahoshi yells and the Sea Kings show up. So Vivi's got some sort of rain ability, and it has something to do with the weapons. So Vivi is very likely the conduit for Uranus, or because at this point I think Momo is actually Pluton. But I mean, I've felt that for a while, that it's Shirahoshi, Vivi, and Momo. But I did like the thought that Isa, since she's shown next, could be something. I mean, that would be a really like deep dive to bring her back. But yeah. And if I'm wrong there. I'm not gonna say it. Anyway, back to this read. The sinking of the world's continents was a man-made disaster brought about by weapons. Weapons which, by someone's design, still exist today. The machinations of history and fate seem to insist upon the obliteration of those last descendants of rare races. If the worst should come to pass, I want you all to take care of yourselves. No matter what should happen, I believe in the intelligence of mankind. I believe in science. Roger died 25 years ago, Whitebeard died 2 years ago, but the fall of these legends was merely the prologue of a new era. And now, these people who refuse to buckle under any and all suppression, they are the ones who are the closest to the truth, ironically enough. Then again, perhaps it was Roger who sent them there. The person who winds up with it may not be the one Joy Boy desired. There is no stopping the tide. The fate of the world now rests in the hands of the one who finds it. The person who lays claim to the One Piece. I think my favorite thing about this panel is that Oda is reminding everybody that Kobe is important. Because a lot of people want to, like, clown Kobe. Miles said, go back and look at Emu in the butterfly room, Randy. The sword sunk into the ground looks very similar to the sword the mystery silhouette is holding. I mean, realistically, the sword is a generic rapier. Like it's just got, you know, it. We could say the silhouette is Cavendish because Durandal, his sword, also has the same sort of hilt. We'll know in due time, right? But hey, you know, I mean, that's the whole point of these conversations is to figure this all out. Shin said Randy didn't even mention with area this chapter. I talked about Haradas. Well, I just like mentioned Haradas, and then that like they're not actually listening to the message, probably. Let's see. It's Vista. Tyrannosaurus said, I watched Parvision go through every hilted sword in the series, and there's no real perfect match. I don't know. Look, I'm saying it's Calico Yorkie, and that's it. Like, it looks a little too young to be him, but I'm still going to say it because it's an interesting pick. You know, Vista for the man marked by flames. I'm in, said Grout. I mean, look, Vista, other than Marco, is my favorite Whitebeard commander. BK said, Randy, off topic, but I know in some pages it almost feels like the narrator of the story has an agenda. Who do you think the narrator is? Who do you want it to be? End of series Kobe, Usopp, Brook? I think end of series narrator is narrator. I don't think that there is a consistent tone across the narrator panels to be anything other than what Oda wants it to be in that moment. But Rockyport was staged. Hey, look, I said it was an inside job, you know. I think Kuzan had a big part to do with it as well. Had something to do with the warlords. It was the event where Law got his hearts that made him a warlord, which I said it would be, and it was. Loved when they confirmed that. And I mean, it's a great thing if it still ties into him being, related to the Marines and Sword, but yeah. I think one thing that like hasn't been revealed yet that I think needs to be with Rocky Port is that Kuzan was there. I think Kuzan was there. But hold on a second. A little bit of chair piece, guys, and we'll get back into everything. Back. Adamus said, "Real talk, I can't read Wang Zhi without hearing Tekking screaming, Wang Shi!" Wang Zhi would be a interesting pick for it. It's a character that has been name dropped numerous times. Would have been at God Valley. No confirmation whether or not they're dead. Man. You know what? That's pretty strong. I still want it to be Yorkie, but here's the way to defend Wang Zhi as the man marked by flames, right? So we get introduced to the title of man marked by flames, and then three chapters later ish, we get the name drop of Wang Zhi. 1059, right? I think Man Marked by Flames was 1056. 1059, we're on Amazon Lily. Blackbeard mentions Wang Zhi and the Rocky Port incident. So that spurred a lot of early conversations about, well, we just heard about a man marked by flames, and now we know that Wang Zhi is alive. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe he's the man marked by flames. Then we get 1066. Saul is alive. Oh, well, obviously he's the man marked by flames. Man marked by flames was a misdirect because the flames aren't actually flame scars, they're ice burns. You know, blah, blah, blah. That was the line of thinking after 1066. Then we get 1081, right? And Kuzan is, you know, the Kuzan flashback with Blackbeard, implying that the man marked by flames is riding around with the poneglyph, denouncing the idea that it could be Saul, which seemed really obvious after 1066 that it would be. So Oda was like, you know, like toying with us. So then is the misdirect with Saul to get us off the scent of Wang Zhe, and it is actually just Wang Zhe. So the Rocky Port incident was, you know, this big ploy. It was a plan that Blackbeard had during the time skip to get control of Hachinosu. We have the Rocky Port video where I go into like why Wang Zhe as a character makes sense for the story, because there was the real life Chinese pirate named Wang Zhe who worked with the Japanese government and the Chinese governments to take out other pirates. He was the first literal example, and definitely one of the inspirations for the Shichibukai warlord system in One Piece in the first place, is because this guy literally would take out other pirates for the government so that he could continue being a pirate. And his name was Wang Zhe. So you have this scenario where, and I still feel like this is the case with Rocky Port, like this doesn't change, it's just, you know, we're gonna add some man marked by flame stuff into this. So the Rocky Port incident was a pivotal time for the Marines. You've got all of these level 6 prisoners that are out. They're probably on Hachinosu. They may be like bending the knee to Wang Zhe, who is the leader of Hachinosu at this, you know, particular time. But if Oda is going with the real world version of Wang Zhe, then that means that he is aligned with the government. So he may be doing deals on the side like Kaido was. There could have been a situation, and my headcanon is that they wanted Wang Zhe to be one of the replacement warlords for Jinbei, for Moria, for... Who's the other one that we lost in during Marineford? Hancock State, Blackbeard. So, duh. So we needed to replace 3 warlords. So I think that Wang Zhe felt like the, you know, the perfect person for them to choose. And the Marines may have saw it, and the government may have saw it as advantageous to have the guy who's running Pirate Island actually be a warlord. So with that, I think Law saw the opportunity to help take down Wang Zhe so that he could get the spot, because for whatever reason that is actually still unknown, Law wanted to be a warlord, right? I mean, like, he wanted to take down Doflamingo, but did he need to be a warlord to take down Doflamingo? That's, you know, that's part of the question. Like, yeah, so that he could, like, sneak into Punk Hazard? I don't know. There's some plot holes that I feel like still need to be covered up with Law. And that's where the Rocky Port incident needs to come into play. And I can't, like, I will be losing my mind and, like, really analyzing every panel when Oda decides to tell us what Rocky Port was. But somehow Wang Zhe was defeated. And Blackbeard took his place. And Law was there. And Kobe was there. And I've always thought that Kuzan was there, but that video I made on Rocky Port was before 1081. And I may need to look at 1081 again to see if it feels like Kuzan and Blackbeard were meeting for the first time, or since the entire crew is together, maybe this helps. What if that flashback is before Rocky Port incident? And then Kuzan is a part of their crew during the Rocky Port incident. Because I just feel like Kuzan's got to be he's got to be. There had to have been a big moment where the Marines realized, like, oh wow, Kuzan's really not with us anymore. Like, he left us, but now he's with Blackbeard. And I feel like the Rocky Port incident could be that. Initially, I think in my video I said that that was where they could have met, and that was like the spark of, you know, Kuzan and Law were working together, and then Kuzan joined Blackbeard. And the line of thinking for that was because one of the things that was still never explained during Punk Hazard was all of the frozen, impelled down prisoners on Punk Hazard. So that's why, you know, part of the, you know, the laws and sword theory and everything like that was that Kuzan was on his way to Punk Hazard already because him and Law were working together. And that the Rocky Port incident was where Law got his hearts, that was confirmed, but that Kuzan helped him and then transferred all of the bodies and froze them on Punk Hazard. Long tangent and everything there, but I mean, I still feel like there's a lot of stuff there. A lot of stuff there. Grout Mobile super chatted and said, continuing on what you said, Marco is my favorite character in the series. It sucks that we see he didn't leave Sphinx. Bakin we didn't see either. She might have left. We still need Impel Down 2.0. And it seemed like Marco might have been, you know, one of the main characters of that. But it seems like Oda wants to go a different direction. Now there's still an opportunity for Law to be a pirate, get captured, and be the main character of Impel Down 2.0. Dofi becomes the crocodile, and everybody gets sprung out that way. Catching up on the chat. Chin, about your earlier question, that's already been answered. That's confirmed. Deadline confirmed it. Producers confirmed it. Tomato said, but if we look at Blackbeard's attire, he looks very similar to current Blackbeard. The Emperor's luxurious attire. So that must have been after the defeat of Wang Zhe. What do you think? Well, I think he would still be an emperor at this point because we still know that he took over Whitebeard's territory. So, but it's also really interesting that Wang Zhe was this big figure, right? his territory was Pirate Island, but he wasn't an emperor. So it's like we need to understand what his role was in the balance of power, because he had to have been playing a role. Like, was he? Also, we finally got Hanafuda, right? So we know the warlord that was defeated in order for Ace to get asked and Kuma to, take the place. But we still don't know who the emperor was that Shanks beat in order to become an emperor. And I think that's the next question that needs to get answered, because we did find out that he only became an emperor, 6 years ago, 4 years ago, something. It's way more recent than we ever believed. Nunya said mirror the last spread from top to bottom instead of from side to side. Luffy versus Emu. Shanks versus Akainu. Blackbeard versus Kobe. I mean, that already happened. They're tied. Buggy versus Sabo. I don't know. That one's a little weird.
You loyal.
Shanks versus Akainu. I mean, that kind of already happened, though. The thing that makes it weird is Buggy versus Sabo. I don't understand where that comes in. I can't make that make sense. I can find justifications for the other ones, especially considering that Shanks, stopped the war and stopped Akainu to protect Kobe, but the Cross Guild tying in some way to the Revolutionary Army is something that I've never even considered. And that's what would make it interesting if Oda actually was subtly trying to tell us that that's a plot point. I don't know. I can make a lot of things make sense, but I don't know about that one. I'll need to wait for Oda to make that make sense. Let's see, what do we got here? Kip/Seaway, member for 31 months, said, "You think Shanks might have took Wang Zhi's place as Yonko?" I mean, that's where I was kind of going with it, and that almost feels like it makes sense. But then the other thing too is like, if he took his place as an emperor, then why was he still in charge of Hachinosu? What was the power dynamic there? My guy Dak is in the chat. He said, "I liked what you were saying about the silhouette being Gin. Gin stocks will pay up." I mean, hey, look, you go to 11-17. You see him. We know he doesn't have the tonfas. Oda made it very clear he's a swordsman now. And what kind of sword does he have? Boom, rapier. It's the same sword. Mr. Nine taking Math Piece to a whole new level. It's definitely not this deep. He said Vivi was introduced with Mr. Nine on page 8 of chapter 103. fellow from the Holy Land with 8 wives was mentioned by Saturn in 1103 on page 8. Oda definitely didn't think of that one. But there was something that was Math Piece pretty recently that was interesting. I think it was in a comment. I don't remember who said it, but the Willie Gallen quote from chapter 218, right, that I've been talking about a lot lately, where, you know, basically anything in reality that people can think of. There's so many different translations, so I've always, you know, forget everything. But anyway, it's basically the basis behind if you think it, you can do it, right? 218. When does Bonnie become Nika? When does she believe that she can become Nika? 1118. 900 chapters later. So that's a fun little bit of Math Piece, and I didn't put it in the last video, but the return of Gin and Don Krieg is actually on the anniversary of their introduction in the manga as well. It's in the same volume. The same weekly Shonen Jump number. So, like, the same week. Dax said, but I actually think that's got to be Wang Ji or a younger God's Knight, like the current version of who Garling was at God Valley, because Garling's old. So for me, the person that I want it to be is Calico Yorkie, and that's because I want Yorkie to be the man marked by flames. And I believe that Yorkie was at God Valley, so if you're mirroring the characters on the page, him being mirrored with Garling makes sense to me. I do buy that it could be a younger God's Knight member that Oda hasn't revealed yet, that is tied to Garling, that is tied to Shanks, that is the Garling of this era. But since Oda has been teasing Wang Zhi, it could be him. If it is him, it's still another old man, because Wang Zhi would have been a God Valley. He would have been as old as Whitebeard was, in theory, as old as Yorkie was. Anywhere there, it's still has the potential to be an old man, even though it does look young. So based on the image alone, like, the safest bet is that it's a younger God's Knight. Holy Knight, I mean. My headcanon, Yorkie, and the other thing that makes sense is Wang Zhi. Dax said, I think it was Wang Zhi in chapter 1096 as that silhouette in the corner, so it makes sense for him to be silhouetted here too. I think that character in 1096 as a silhouette in the corner was Calico Yorkie, so it makes sense for him to be silhouetted here too. Emil said maybe it's Venus Juro. If it was Nesjuro, then he would just put Nesjuro. What's up, Bean Barrage? How you doing, man? So just joined the stream. What's the topic of discussion? What do we think of the silhouette? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the silhouette. What if it's Skopper Kaban? At this point, I don't care about Skopper Kaban anymore. And Gin shows that, you know, hey, you can drop your signature weapon for a sword, but if the guy was holding an axe, I'd be like, oh wow, Skopper. No. Maybe it's Johnny or Yosako. Yeah, they stopped. The last time we saw them, they were fishermen at Kokoyashi 4 months ago, right? But in those 4 months, they've already entered the new world and are crushing it. Let's see. Nunya said Oda did it very well, since if he's mirrored with Dragon, it's a bad guy, not necessarily. But mirrored with Figureland, it's a good guy. More of a neutral guy, I would say. Feeling the theory discussions for us. Dragon and Kuzan, I talked about this earlier. They're mirrored because they're both sons of Garp. Literally and figuratively. And then, so every character that is mirrored is tied in some way. It's not that like, oh, this person is literally going to fight this person, but it's like their characters are connected. So the character, no matter what, is connected to Garling, potentially connected to Dragon. If Yorkie is Luffy's other grandfather, you know, then like there's a connection to Dragon as well. And yeah, like there's so many ways to dissect this panel. It's incredible. I love it. And I can't wait to come back to this after we've, you know, been in the final saga for a while and see how all of these pairings actually, like, you know, come together. Dax said, so are we thinking Isa is an ancient weapon controller? We've discussed it. We talked about it. Because obviously, I don't know if you were here, but, you know, I was definitely, you know, that Vivi and Shirahoshi side-by-side panel, you know, I had to spend my time on that. While Oda's talking about the ancient weapons. Grout Mobile said that, Randy, you gotta get Dak on the channel again. Hey. It's always a good time talking with my guy. Let's see here. Atomisk. That's the thing, Randy. They don't have to fight. Even if Kuzan and Dragon have a discussion about justice and ideals, and Kuzan says, oh, I screwed up, and joins the Revolutionary Army. There's also an opportunity for Kuzan to already be part of the Revolutionary Army. You know, there's so many ways that this could go. But it's like, at the end of the day, Dragon and Kuzan have to talk, because as the Sons of Garp, Dragon has to, you know, have some words with this guy. Like, hey, my dad looked at you like one of his, like, you know, like a son. You know, he technically loved you more than he loved me. I can guarantee you that. And you did this to him? They could scrap. They could. They definitely need to talk. They need to, you know, come to a... They gotta come to some sort of talk here. Have I heard of Philip Chase yet? I watched his... that's the professor, right? I watched his Alabasta video. A while ago, maybe 2 months ago or something. For theory, I want to reach out to Alexander AJ, and we got to get Recon back too, because it's been a year since we had Recon, and I want to talk to him. But first, I'm going to see if AJ wants to collab. Morge says the series ends in 2032. That's ridiculous. We're in 2024. We're done in 2027, guys. There's not much left. There's not much left, guys. We're literally in the last, like, 5 to 10% of the story. Oda's absolutely going to want to end everything in the 30th year, maybe the 31st. Maybe we push to 2028. I don't know, but Oda wants to end the story. He really does. It's clear. We have less than 5 years. At this point, I do believe we have less than 5 years. I think we have 1,231 chapters. I think that's it. I think we have another 110 chapters and Oda's done with the story. I think after this, we do not come back to Luffy. We do go somewhere else. We start a generational, like, 5-chapter run that, like, ends Egghead and starts showing us the machinations of everybody else and how they're all, and the plans being laid out for everybody to go and get the One Piece. We go to Elbaf. But the way that everything is being set up here, I would love a proper Elbaf arc, but maybe it's a Zoe arc that just propels us to Laugh Tale. And that's where the final war and, you know, Ragnarok really occurs. How long was Marineford? Like 34 chapters. I don't know if I'm completely accurate there, but it's like low 30s. So, like, if Oda made the final war exactly as long as Marineford, then we can fit an entire Elbaf arc, have Laugh Tale be as long as Marineford, and still have time for an epilogue and the story's over. And the reason why I say 1,231 chapters is because then everybody has a birthday chapter. Literally covers an entire calendar. Nunya said that Philip Chase is the best take on Long Ring Longland I've ever heard. I definitely recommend his analysis vids. Long Ring Longland is literally one of the best arcs. Like, from a crew standpoint, from, like, it's just... people sleep on it. Or it gets a bad rap because of the anime. But there's so much, like, actual character building and character focus on the core crew, which gets lost a lot. So it's just, it's so good. Dak thinks probably like 2030 apparently here. I don't think so. Dean Barrage said Morge was using the lengths of arcs during the post-time skip as justification and believes the final war will be will at least be longer than the raid. No. Marineford was only 31 chapters, said Lisa. I knew it was low 30s. I mean, I think it's smart to try and math it out with other arcs. You know, like, I'm not, like, disparaging Morge doing it. I just... more One Piece is great. But I also... I don't know. Look, it would be great if we got another 200 chapters, but I really think it's only going to be about 110 chapters left. What Oda did with Marineford was masterful. So what I think would be a good length for the final war is around that. Like, just give us what you did in Marineford. It's fine. But, you know, I guess we need to make it a little bit longer because some of the Straw Hats still have to get their, like, final fights, and, you know, against the Blackbeard Pirates or whatever. They need, like, actual battles to do. That's interesting, Galil. 1279 is interesting, as it in the chat he's saying that the numbers would spell out the One Piece. So if Luffy found the One Piece in chapter 1279, it would be his biggest wordplay yet. Brandon said, wait a second, this is Dragon's first time ever looking west. Let's give him a round of applause. He finally did it. We don't know that he's looking west because he could actually, I mean, we don't have a compass on it. He could actually be looking east, but the perspective and the way that the angle is, or, the focus on it is just straight on. But if we were behind him, looking at him out, he'd probably be still looking east. So this chapter is good because you know why? It's going to spawn a lot of theories. It's going to spawn a lot of great discussion. It's a lot of fuel for a lot of my agendas. So we'll definitely have some videos from this. Yeah. Fun. All right. Take another look at the chat, and then we'll start winding down here, guys. Slack form said, Dragon's looking so far west, he's looking east, Boa style. What do we think of the evil Shanks stuff? I don't think Shanks is evil, but if you're talking about the silhouette being an evil Shanks or like a twin, or right now it's there's only three options for me: Calico Yorkie, Wang Zhi, and then a younger Holy Knight that we haven't been introduced to, that is the figureland of his time. So, let's see. So yeah, I think we'll wrap things up here, guys. Thanks for everybody for joining. We are still heavily in algorithm jail, so next time I put a video out, please keep commenting and liking and everything so that we can get back into the good graces. This coming Saturday, I'll be at San Diego Comic-Con, so if anybody's going to be there, I'll be walking around. Come say hi if you're there. And I will try and set up a theory for that Sunday. Keep an eye on community posts in case it ends up being a different day, or if I have to accommodate for the guest. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. Does Wang Zhi's age fit? I mean, he would be as old as Yorkie if that's the case. He'd be an old man, be an old guy. Yorkie would be an old guy now. BK said, last thought, if Garling is opposite the Silhouette Man, then Silhouette Man has to thematically parallel the Sun Moonbeard's existence, meaning that guy is Sunbeard, perhaps? Not necessarily. Because you can get thematic without being, you know, I don't know if that's thematic as much as it's just physical. A physical thing. Adam has said, I'll be sure to set the recap on loop overnight, Randy. Oh yeah, last thing. Did anybody watch the sword episode? How was it? The you know, chapter 1080 was one of my favorite chapters of last year, so I don't know, I might set up something where we watch that since we're on break. We'll see. No promises. But I am definitely like excited for that. Did they do good stuff in the anime? Oh, anime and manga are on break. So the Kobe and Galaxy Impact thing didn't happen? Anime got delayed. Okay. No episode this week. Copy that. All right. Copy. Thanks again, guys. See you later. And hey, you know what? It was a Croc and Vivi chapter, so that's 10 out of 10.
久しぶりだな。
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.